I like to think of ourselves as like a system first, and then the catalyst. In that sense, respectively, today we had two meetings. One meeting, our like leading designer presented the new version of Explorer when we make it much more useful, easy to understand, and we will ship it like as a version 2, like maybe midsummer or something like that. And our goal is to make it as practical as possible, but also understanding the purpose. Like, of course, for example, if you're coming visiting a website and you want to understand how can I privately send files, then service could recommend you. So there will be recommended engine saying, oh, okay, they're decentralized storages, some of them are private, some are not. That's the level of privacy they have. Do your own research, but at least you will have a short list. Then way trickier with privacy coins, of course, or like a bit easier with privacy messenger protocols, because kind of like lots of things are related to UX UI, and then lots of things related to like if they were compromised or not, or like how legit is the scientific team and whatever the encryption they're using. And what happened by the end of the day, we will create not just a market snapshot like with like 50 data points per every project, but we will create a healthy competitions when basically we will score everything, and we will say, look, those guys, they just promise privacy, but they're not even close. Maybe in a year, nice, you could support them, you could explore them, you could follow them, but don't put your sensitive information or your aspirations on their promise of privacy. While the others hit highest ranks of privacy because maybe they were audited within the privacy features and not within the generic smart contracts. So their level of scoring within the platform is way higher comparing to the others. And I think that this will force all these, like shady or lazy projects to move on, to try to reach harder, try to be more transparent, especially when someone is trying to find out the product readiness. It's a pain in the ass how different teams ship the information about them. Like when you just need to know what the project really is doing, instead of this, they're throwing on you marketing phrases. We change the world. I'm like, no, 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 no. I just need to know who you are. Are you a storage? Are you an identity? Who you are? Like, and sometimes, and also privacy features, obscure language. So in a way, we're also kind of like a filter that helps to strip down of all the noise and create like that's where they are. That's what the team. Many people who do unknown teams hide I don't know, lack of developers, for example, because it's so easy. And then the question is like, okay, but how we can protect users? So I don't know, by measuring GitHub contributors and their historical track record, or if it's a new contributor, whatever, for example, unknown, how we would be ensure that he is not malicious actor, but kind of like works pro users. So I think that it's also creating a new narratives on how we really develop privacy and how we progress forward together. And also it's kind of like this kind of like arbiter between the projects and the market, creating also standout projects within the categories, so everyone could follow or maybe even fork successful projects and build better. I mean, we would be super happy to see this. And maybe one reference point here is something like, for example, you go to Bit and you check which projects are really decentralized, and you will see that one or two, and there's no TVL, no one is using them and stuff like that. While everyone fancy TVL, super great numbers, are they decentralized? Not really. And I think that we do the opposite way around. We don't want to promote fancy numbers, but we want to really say like, hey, this is not private. You should be careful because we want to protect people. We want to bring this care to the market. So the auditor, the VC, whatever, the CEO, CDO are really thinking in synchronization to let's provide the highest privacy features possible. And one good example here, This was the case of Nocturne. So Nocturne raised some money, Vitalik supported it, nice, cool, it possibly important project within Ethereum ecosystem, now sunset, but still. So they promised privacy, but then you go privacy policy and they're collecting everything about you, even product-related data that they could say, we don't need to collect it. One thing is like you collect the data related to your setup of the company. If you set up in UK, GDPR, all these things. Another thing that you put product metrics and tag people and surveil on them. So in the ideal case scenario, what we also want to provide is kind of like understanding that one thing is a product privacy, another thing is like organizational related privacy, and third thing is like sort of market related, geography related, bigger privacy. So then people won't mix the product privacies like with something else. And this I experienced also in NIM, because many people think that the organization itself should be as private as the product. And this is wrong, because some organizations are set up in Switzerland for a reason, and then they travel the world for a reason, using passport and stuff like that. But the technology could be hyper decentralized. One organization could be centralized. But we need to find a way how to separate those two things, also from the organization itself. And now I'm returning to my argument on L2Bit. Once you will be decentralized, good. When are you hyper centralized, those TVLs doesn't matter. It's just fancy numbers and you're still hyper capitalist in that sense. But for R&D, good.
Yeah, and that, I mean, just to sort of add to what you were saying before about the Explorer, and I think and sort of making it simple for people. What I liked about it seemed like there was a sweet spot there. It was simple enough to help people understand and clearly see what was going on, but I didn't feel like it was too dumbed down that it made me like it was insulting. When sometimes you go on you kind of want a little bit more. You don't want to be bombarded with essays about cryptography, but you also don't want the truth to be hidden away from you. You also kind of want to see a little bit of information so that you're informed. And I think that sweet spot's actually really important.
Unchecked governments have eradicated privacy and truth. Those who resist are brought down swiftly, but we refuse to submit. Unipunks are freedom fighters, protected by encrypted shadows. The future we're building is sovereign and uncensorable. The moonlit night is coming.